How to create boundaries with your specific person. Hey guys, hope you're well. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about this lovely topic, how to create boundaries. This topic makes me feel very, very good because I feel that in my experience as a coach, that the concept of boundaries is the most important concept and the biggest thing that people struggle with. So in this video, I will try to cover each and everything about how you should create boundaries with your specific person. I will be talking about why are boundaries important, different kinds of boundaries, and I will also be catering to different situations that you might be in and what would boundaries look like in them. So I will be talking about if you are meeting this person for the first time, or if you are manifesting an ex back, or if you're manifesting someone with whom you have a or had a situationship but you don't really have a relationship. So what kind of boundaries would you put there? And lastly, I would like to and love to talk about the concept of self boundaries. So stick till the end. This will be a highly informative video. And if you are someone who's manifesting a specific person, you will absolutely love this and you will absolutely gain something from this. So before I get into this, one thing, the concept of boundaries is something that is deeply explained in my self concept course. So if you want to check the course out, the link is in the bio or you can DM me for details. But this is a concept that is explained very, very deeply there. And I'm going to be talking about some things from that too. So let's first understand why boundaries are important. Boundaries are important because the way that we treat ourselves is the way that the world will end up treating us. This is a very short way and summarized way through which I have said this statement, but it's very, very true. The truth doesn't change here, right? What is important to understand is that the way that we cater to ourselves, the way that we cater to other people, is what we are teaching the world that we deserve, and is what we are teaching the world is okay or not okay. The way it comes into specific relationships is because when we get into a specific relationships, the kind of boundaries that we put is the kind of behavior that we are willingly accepting. And a lot of times, those boundaries can be many, many different situations, but the things that we end up accepting are the things that we don't want to accept. And our fears have a very big role to play in it. So when we have a fear, we use that fear as a reason to not have sustainable and respectful boundaries. And because we use that fear as a way to not have sustainable and respectful boundaries, we end up in a position where we end up hurting ourselves. So now we will understand the three different kinds of boundaries, and we will understand how they impact our life. So the first set of boundaries are self boundaries. Now, what are self boundaries? Self boundaries are boundaries that we need to put in a relationship that are about me. So the boundaries that I will put on myself when it comes to a relationship or in any situation in my life. They can be, for example, doing what I said I would do, going to the gym when I said I would, quitting Instagram when I said I would, not scrolling on reels all the time, not stalking my specific person, doing all these things. These are things that are in my control, and these are things that if I control properly, I will have a very good benefit from that, and I will get lots and lots of sustainability from that. This is first. And one good thing about self boundaries is that if I start putting up self boundaries, the other kind of boundaries become very easy to do because I have already established that level of control over myself. The second kind of boundaries are the boundaries that we put to the world as a whole. Now, this is generally how we cater to the world. Whose opinion matters to us? What do I think is acceptable for me? What do I think is not acceptable for me? What kind of behavior is okay and what kind of behavior is not okay? These are things that we cater to from the whole world. Lastly, what comes down to is the boundaries that we put with specific people in our lives. This can mean our parents, our friends, our family, our bosses, our specific person, or our relationships as a whole. Now, these are the most complex set of boundaries because they can be very situation based, whereas in general boundaries or self boundaries, they can actually be slightly general and easy to understand. Because on a general level, with self boundaries, we know the things that we should and shouldn't do, right? On the general level, we also know the things that we shouldn't do. In specific relationships is where we get the confusion, and when we get the confusion, we end up, because of the confusion, half of the times sabotaging our relationships because we are unable to identify where to put a boundary and where not. So now I will be explaining some different scenarios in which you can end up putting up boundaries and how they are effective and will affect your life moving forward. So let's get into these. There are three different situations that I would try to cover. So first, Someone asked me this question that, Karan, why is it difficult to put up boundaries? Because on a logical level, we know that we should put up boundaries, but why is it difficult to put up boundaries? I will answer this in 2 points. The first reason why it's difficult to put up boundaries is because a part of us feels that even if we don't put up the boundaries, somehow it works out. Or a part of us is hoping that we can avoid that confrontation of putting up the boundary, so that if I just avoid this confrontation, if I avoid dealing with this, even then this might work out. That's a big reason. But through experience, you must have already seen that if not putting up boundaries was working, your situation would have worked by now. It isn't working because it doesn't work without boundaries being in alignment. A second reason why people have so much difficulty putting up boundaries is because they are afraid to let go of this middle part, and they are afraid to let go of these breadcrumb situations that they are getting, because they feel that if I let this go, I will never get the full thing. And that's where self concept work is needed, because here we are guided by fear, and our fear is the reason why we are making this decision. And that decision is actually hurting us, not helping us. Now, let's talk about the first set of boundaries that you need to put. And in this situation, we are going to be talking about if you're meeting someone for the first time. So, in this situation, it's just like, let's say I start dating someone, and as I'm dating this person, what kind of boundary should I put in, and when should I put up the boundaries? So, first, anytime that you start to meet someone, before going into any dating scenario, you should be clear on what you are looking for. Are you eventually looking to get married? Are you eventually looking to be in a relationship? What is your end goal in your mind? Now, it's very important that when you first meet a person, and this is for people who will be meeting someone, or if even if you're meeting a specific person, that in this situation you will first need to establish if this person is on the same wavelength as you. So, is this person looking for marriage? Now, of course, in the first date, this is not something that comes up. Or when you're meeting a person or getting to know them, and for people who are manifesting someone with whom they are just friends with and they are just developing feelings for, then you won't know that instantly. But it's very important that you do know it eventually. So, as you get to know it, what is important to see is that as you're proceeding forward in a relationship, you should have a clear goal on where this might lead. Now, this doesn't mean that just because you both are eventually looking to get married, that this relationship will turn into marriage instantly, or that they should give you that commitment or you should get that commitment instantly. It just means that I eventually know that that can be a possible goal. In this situation, the more important boundaries to put are self boundaries. What that means is boundaries on myself, not to let my anxiety win over me, not to let my anxiety be the reason that I'm constantly texting this person, or not letting my past issues be the reason that I'm avoidant towards this person. So here the boundary has to be put if at the start this person is clearly saying and telling you that at this moment I don't think that I will be okay with it, or I don't think that this will lead anywhere. The best way to put up a boundary is then, yes, you can focus on manifesting outside of that, but creating a boundary is important. An example of this would be, the other day I was talking to one of my clients, and she got into this situation where from the start she got together with a guy who was very clear from the start that I cannot offer you marriage, right? And a few months after dating, this guy said that, okay, now my parents are forcing me to get married, so let's break up. And at that time, this came as such a surprise to this person, when it was something that this guy was clear about before. An appropriate way to move forward into something like this would have been to clear herself from that equation from the very starting point. If she wants to manifest this person, she can manifest without being there, because while she's there, she's again teaching the world that she does not have respect for her own self and her own time and her own attention, and she's also putting herself in a position where she's getting attached too early, which is not really helpful. So in these situations, putting up a boundary as early as possible can be helpful. The second situation is when you are manifesting an ex back. Now this is the one where most people get stuck, and here putting up the boundaries is the most difficult thing. Now, let's understand 2 3 things. The first thing that is important to see is that what was the reason that you guys broke up in the first place. So, let's say the reason for your breakup was that one of you, let's say you here, you wanted a commitment. And here, when we are talking about commitment, let's say marriage. So, here, let's say you wanted a marriage, but this person says after, let's say your relationship was going, but in the end, they are not committing to the idea of marriage, and that is the reason that you broke up. Now, there are two boundaries that you will put here. First, it doesn't really make sense to be in contact with this person as of now. One, because you probably will be doing out of fear. More often than not, we are doing it because a part of us feels that if we let go of this breadcrumb that I'm receiving from this person, I am still, like, if I let this go, I will never get a full relationship. An example of this would be, again, I was talking to one of my clients, and she said that, she was in this relationship, they broke up because this guy was not committing. A few days after they broke up, this guy came back to her telling her that, oh, I miss you so much. And this girl went back into the contact, and eventually it kept on going forward the same way, and 2 months later they were in the same position because this guy's stance hadn't changed. Now in this situation, that I miss you doesn't truly mean anything unless it comes with the change that she was looking for. And her being in contact doesn't really mean anything because it wouldn't come out of power, because she knows what she wants. She already has seen this dating phase with this person. Her being in touch right now wouldn't truly help because it is not letting her live in the end. Now, there are many situations for different people that it might. So, it might help you living in the end. But you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest what this action is doing for me. Is being in touch really helping me, or is being in touch not helping me? Getting that clarity mentally is very important. So, if you are in this kind of a situation, you need to clear this up, that when this person comes back, unless they come back with the full thing, it doesn't really make sense to be back in touch with them, because you guys being interested in each other was not the issue. Unless there is the change that you were truly looking for, getting back in touch is just you running in fear and wasting your time. And I wouldn't want you to do that. Again, as I mentioned, there will be exceptions to this situation, and I am here making a general video, so I'm trying to generalize it as much as possible. Another reason why, and another position which you can be in while you are manifesting a like an ex back and you have to put up boundaries, is if this person is coming back for something smaller than the commitment and they are telling you they will think about it later. So a lot of times what happens is, as you are getting back in touch, let's say you broke up, right? And then eventually you were chasing them first, and then you eventually started creating a boundary for yourself in this situation. And as soon as you put up a boundary, after that, a few days later, this person comes back, either totally ignoring your boundary and just acting like everything is normal, or they come and tell you that let's just keep being together right now, we will deal with this later. It is super important that you stay firm on your boundary here, because a lot of times we just give into it because we feel, oh, this is movement, this person came back, they texted me again. But movement would actually mean you never accepting lesser than what you want, and you only accepting things that you know you deserve. Again, there can be some situations where people might accept it and they actually genuinely feel good about it because they feel powerful. But more often than not, that's not the case. More often than not, when you accept that, you accept it because in that moment you're missing them, you have this attachment towards them, and that's fine. Like, I understand that you have the attachment, but settling here wouldn't truly help you. It would only put you backwards towards this situation because you didn't deal with the true issue, you just avoided the confrontation. Now, the last kind of situation, where if you are in a situation where you're manifesting a specific person and you are in a situationship with them. So there are 2 points that come into play here. Let's understand both of them. So the first point is that if you genuinely like being in a situationship with this person. So we will take an example here. Let's say you are someone who's manifesting a guy in your life, and right now you are in a friends with benefits situation, and you are genuinely okay being in a friends with benefits situation. It doesn't bother you that you are not committed. You are actually not even stalking this person. In fact, every time you do get involved in sexual ways or in whatever way that you do, it only makes you reaffirm the fact that of course we are going to be together. If you're in this situation, then you don't need to do anything. You should just keep focusing on working on your beliefs towards commitment and move forward in there. The second situation is that if you are looking for a full relationship, and you were, or maybe your situation started as a situationship where this guy didn't actually offer you commitment, and you got together maybe in a friends with benefits or another kind of situationship, and now you want a relationship and you're clear about that. In this situation, walking away from this relationship at this moment is very important. Not because walking away is something permanent, or that walking away would mean that you are letting this go forever. Walking away is important because you staying here would be out of fear. You staying here would be indicating to yourself that I will settle my own needs just because I'm afraid to deal with one of my fears. As you're walking away, that doesn't mean it would be easy. Walking away is very difficult, especially if you're super attached to this person and this idea. But what will help you as you move forward is to realize that as I'm walking away, I'm teaching myself, him, the world, that my time, my attention is very, very important. And I'm only going to provide it in a situation where I'm going to get the thing that I want in return. And at these moments is when you should hyper focus on your self concept. That, of course, why wouldn't this person or any other person in this world want to be with me? I respect myself, I work on myself, I'm someone who's powerful, I'm someone who's valuable. And so is this person. So if in this moment this person doesn't want a relationship, that doesn't make them bad. It just means that at this moment they don't. But that does not mean that they never will. It just means that at this moment when they don't, you staying here would actually be not in alignment with who you truly are and what you truly want. So that's where putting up a boundary here can be helpful, is when you will make sure that the things that you are doing and the situations that you are getting into are aligning with your needs. As far as you can do that, as much as you can do that, and as consistently as you can do that, you will be able to get great results for yourself. Now, as I said, in the end, I will be talking about self boundaries, and this is a very important topic. So I will be giving you a few pointers on what are some self boundaries that you can start with and how you can cater to them in your daily life. So the few self boundaries that will actually help you create better boundaries with your specific person, with the world and everything. The first one is just simply doing what you said that you would. If you said I will wake up at that time, wake up on that time. If you said I will not drink, for example, don't drink. If you said I will work out today, work out today. It's because as you're doing that, you're teaching yourself that even if I feel slightly opposite, I will still do the thing that is needed. And while I'm teaching myself that, I'm also promoting the idea that the needed thing will eventually help me. So if when it comes to this situation with your specific person or with any person involved, you will be able to create that boundary because you would be able to put your eventual end over your current attachment issues. A second way to start putting up boundaries is to make sure that you make yourself avoid the things you know you shouldn't do. Now here, things like I will not stalk my specific person. I will not use social media to check on the third party. I will not do all these things. This is another very important way to put up self boundaries, because what it does is that it promotes the idea that even when I know something has the potential to hurt me, I will not partake in that. And when I know that something can trigger me, I will not just create a trigger for myself because I wasn't able to control myself from opening my phone and opening Instagram, right? We don't want to be in that position. So there are a lot of points that we have discussed in this video, and I hope that this video helps you. I will see you guys in the next one, and I make sure that you are putting the appropriate boundaries that are needed, not just because it will help you get something, but because you deserve it, and you deserve the best treatment from yourself before you expect it from the world. I will see you guys in the next one, and have a great day ahead.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you like the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.